For months, I found myself ensnared in an endless quest for validation. Each day, I sought my spouse's affection, a glimmer of her esteem, or even a brief moment of her attention. Mornings unfolded with the same delicate ritual, navigating her shifting moods, craving her recognition, yet perpetually falling short. No action seemed adequate. When I lingered at the office, she labeled me as neglectful. When I came home early, she faulted my ambition. I tried cooking her dinners, surprising her with heartfelt tokens, or arranging outings, but she brushed aside every effort as though it lacked worth. The man I used to be, brimming with confidence, had faded, replaced by weariness and a desperate need to please. Every argument ended with my apologies, even when I bore no blame, all to preserve peace. I thought this was love, sacrificing my desires to secure her contentment. In truth, I had dwindled into a shadow, existing solely to fulfill her every whim. This morning, something inside me shattered. She requested that I iron her work clothes, a chore I'd typically hasten to complete, hoping for the faintest nod of approval. Today, however, I met her eyes and stayed silent. I sat composed, sipped my tea, and scrolled through my phone. For the first time in years, I ignored her demand. Her response was swift. "Did you hear me?" she snapped. I nodded but didn't move. Her eyes widened, unaccustomed to this new me, the man who didn't spring to obey her every command. She left her shirt crumpled on the bed and stormed to the bathroom, the door slamming in her wake. I continued sipping my tea, resolute in my newfound calm. Later, she asked me to handle an errand for her mother. Normally, I'd have agreed without hesitation to avoid a dispute, but I replied evenly, "I'm busy today. You can manage it." Her face registered shock, irritation, and a trace of unease. It was the first time she saw me as more than her compliant servant. Throughout the day, she tested me with small requests: bring her water, fix her charger, call the plumber. Each time, I either shook my head or said, "Not now." My refusals were steady, deliberate, and firm, carrying more weight than any heated quarrel I'd ever engaged in. By nightfall, the air in our home had shifted. She paced restlessly, her glances revealing discomfort as she struggled to understand what had changed in me. At last she confronted me. "What's wrong with you today?" she demanded, her voice sharp yet wavering. Instead of groveling or over-explaining, I looked into her eyes and said, "I'm tired of being the only one trying in this marriage." Her lips parted as if to retort, but no words came. She wasn't ready for me to stand firm. She was used to my pleading for her attention, her forgiveness, her affection. But today, I offered none of that. No excuses, no frantic attempts to placate her. The silence between us grew dense, almost palpable. She tried to brush it off, turning on the TV, fidgeting with her phone, feigning indifference. Yet her unease was evident in her tense movements. She wasn't accustomed to being ignored, to me putting myself first. When dinner time arrived, she asked if I was preparing a meal. I told her I'd already eaten out. A flicker of hurt crossed her face. For years, I'd ensured a warm meal awaited her, but tonight I didn't budge. She fixed something for herself, the clanging of pots betraying her frustration, but beneath it, I sensed a thread of panic. That night, as we slipped into bed, she spoke softly. "You've been so distant today. Are you upset with me?" I turned to her and said steadily, "I'm not upset. I'm just done begging. I'm done being the only one who cares." She stared at me, as if a stranger shared her bed. She tried to defend herself, claiming she never asked for my pleading, that I was exaggerating. But I recounted every moment she'd dismissed my efforts, taken my kindness for granted, or made me feel small. The truth was clear in her expression. She couldn't refute it. For once, she wasn't the one in control. I didn't shout or weep. I didn't plead. I simply spoke the truth and let the silence settle. In that weighty quiet, she began to realize she might lose me if things didn't change. As she turned away, pretending to sleep, I lay awake, feeling a strange sense of liberation. For the first time in years, I wasn't weighed down by the need to win her approval. I had rediscovered a part of myself, and it felt invigorating. I didn't know what tomorrow would bring, whether she would shift or stay the same. But one thing was certain. I would never return to a life of begging. The next morning, I left early, offering few words. I didn't answer her calls throughout the day. When I returned, I handed her an envelope with steady hands. Inside were papers detailing my decision to separate. Her fingers trembled as she read them, her eyes filled with shock and fear. She tried to protest, to plead for a discussion, but this time, I was the one who stayed silent. The man who once begged for her love was gone. I packed my things methodically as she watched, powerless to stop me. "You'll regret this," she whispered, her voice quivering. I gave a calm smile and replied, "No, I've already regretted staying too long." As I walked out the door, a burden lifted from my shoulders. For the first time in years, I wasn't pleading. I was free.